Good morning, Santa Clarita. It is good to see you. How you doing? Welcome in. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. We're also on Facebook Live. Go to Facebook, check us out at KHTS Radio. You'll see us there. On Facebook Live, you can watch the show, not just listen. That is right. This is SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson. Welcome back and happy Friday morning. It is good to have you. You know it. If you hear my voice, it is a Friday morning. It's a cool Friday morning. It is finally an autumnal Friday morning. The cool is creeping in, and it's kind of nice. It's enjoyable out there. It's going to be a nice, cool weekend as well. And what have you got going on this weekend? You know, it's a little frustrating. You guys know that this town was kind of built around an amusement park, but our amusement parks are closed, or are they? Because it feels like we've been on kind of that that non-stop roller coaster. You know, a couple of months ago it was no haircuts, and Patty and I were sitting here looking like hippies here in the studio, and then it was, you know, Viva la Fiesta haircuts, and then no haircuts again, and then yes haircuts but outside, and now we're back inside but one at a time, and then we're, you know, with the weather here in the valley. This time last week, as I was sitting here in the studio, we were looking at, you know, 3-digit temperatures here in the valley, and now, gosh, it's down to the low 70s, and this weekend's going to get even cooler. It's going to be mid-60s Sunday and Monday, so it's going to be downright cool out there. We're riding that thermometer roller coaster, and speaking of roller coasters, what a ride it has been with the Dodgers. Do you remember what we talked about last week? Last week we were talking about, oh gosh, keep the faith, keep those fingers crossed. We think the Dodgers can do it. They're going to have to win 3 games in a row to stay alive. And the boys had a great weekend. They didn't sweep, but they swept the weekend. Yeah. Ended up beating the Braves. They were down 3-1. Ended up winning 4-3 after winning Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now we're in the World Series. Game 1, they come through, deliver a thumping to Tampa Bay, playing out there in Arlington, Texas. Game 2 comes around, though, and Tampa Bay evened it up, and so we're back 1-1, and the collective Dodger Nation kind of went, whoa, okay, this team is real. So
this team's real.
True. Well, Tampa Bay is a good team. You know, everybody keeps saying it. Let's not forget, they are the only other team besides the Dodgers that won more than 40 games this year. So they've got a strong team. They're giving the Dodgers a bit of a run for their money. It's been crazy. And again, unlike the National League Championship Series where we had 7 games in 7 days, and man, you really had to go at it hard. They broke it up a little bit more, not exactly the way they do it in the World Series typically, but they gave a 2 games on, day off. So the Dodgers had a day off yesterday, and you know, we were banished to watch one of 2 absolutely terrible matchups last night, whether it was, you know, the presidential debates or that Thursday night football game. Either way, it was just an absolute disaster, regardless of which one you were watching. Either one was ugly. I know, I was flipping back and forth, and it was bad on both channels. But now we get 3 games. So we had 2 games on, a night off, 3 games, and then they're going to get a rest. So we've got a game once again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a great baseball weekend. Yep. And then we get a day off, you know, if needed. There's that whole if needed. They get a day off on Monday, and then they go again if needed Tuesday and Wednesday. So tonight the Dodgers are rolling out Walker Buehler. He's basically our ace now, right?
Yeah.
With Kershaw getting up there a little bit.
Definitely.
So we're throwing out our ace, but you know, Tampa Bay's got Charlie Morton going. He's a strong pitcher. You know, his fastball is actually gotten faster this month. And let's not forget, Charlie Morton beat the Dodgers in the World Series back in 2017. I know. 2 for curveball, right? And those cheating Astros cheated us out of a ring in 2017. But Charlie Morton threw the ball well, pitched well against the Dodgers in 2017. He's a strong pitcher. It's going to be a great game tonight. And again, we've got games all weekend long. So, you know, this time Monday morning, well, yeah, we could be talking about the world champion Dodgers.
We could. If they go 3 games out right now, yeah.
If they win the weekend again, then they, you know, we could be talking about that. You know, shudder at the thought, but it could go the opposite way. or somewhere in the middle. It could be 3 games to 2 on Monday, and it could be a real series. So we'll see. But either way, it's going to be a great sports weekend. Of course, the NFL is back, and they're in full swing now. Interestingly, we talked about the NBA, and of course the Lakers got their championship. Woohoo! Woohoo! And they were able to, they finished their entire season in the bubble, right? "Quote unquote" in the bubble. They locked them down and finished without a single instance of COVID, but that's what a quarantine will do, right?
Yep.
Baseball has done a pretty good job without the full bubble, although during the latter half of the playoffs, they were kind of in a bubble. But I actually heard on the way in today, it's been 56 days since a single positive test in baseball.
Wow.
So they've done pretty well. The NFL hasn't been so fortunate, hasn't been so lucky. Seems like the players haven't been behaving themselves as well in the NFL. You've got guys, going to public functions without wearing masks. You've got, players just acting as if things were normal. And in fact, it came out yesterday. Was it the offensive lineman? Is it the center for the Raiders?
Oh, yeah.
He tested positive, right? So of course, he's shut down. He's on the COVID list, and they've got the contact tracers there, right? So they say, all right, give us your contact tracer. We'll see who you've been in close contact with, and whether they have symptoms or not, whether they're positive or negative. They've got to shut it down for 5 days. And he said, "Oh, I got to go back to my house and get my contact tracer." He wasn't wearing it.
Oh, no.
He wasn't wearing his contact tracer. And so the NFL said, if you're not wearing your contact tracer, how do we use your contact tracer? Hey, for me, we've talked about love and logic on the show. It's a very love and logic, very logical consequence. If we don't know who on your team you've been in close contact with, everybody on the offensive line, we have to assume you've been in close contact with, they're done for 5 days.
Yep.
So we've had these different mini outbreaks in 3-4 teams now.
Yep, that's true.
So NFL not doing so well. They're fortunately been able to move games around, continue forward. It's wreaking havoc on the schedulers. Normally this is the time of the year where the schedulers kind of get to put their feet up and watch the games. But so yeah, those amusement parks are still closed, but we are still riding these roller coasters. And speaking of which, did you watch the presidential debate last night? Yep. Yeah, that's one roller coaster that my stomach can't handle. So I tuned in for about 20 minutes and then tuned back out. But things are about to take an upswing. We're swinging up. If last night was between the game and the debate was a downswing, we're swinging up because we have got a great show for you here at Eye on the Valley today. This hour we've got Linda Brierly. She is the owner and operator of Need to Stretch. She's going to limber you up, stretch you out, and keep you in tip-top condition. We'll also be talking with Amanda Fisher and April Calthrone. They are Executive Director and Director of Facilities, respectively, of SCVI and iLead Schools. We'll be talking to them. We'll be talking to the two of them about the potential of school waivers in the younger grades and the opportunity for those younger grades to actually get back on campus. They're starting to talk about how can we get our kindergartners, first and second graders back on campus and in the classroom. So we're going to check in with them and see what the possibility is, if there's a timeline, and how we can get at least our littles back on campus. And then we also have Chris Nilsson. Chris Nilsson is the college counselor at SCVI because it's application season. And, like everything, COVID has turned application season on its ear. So we're going to talk to Chris about, getting your kids into college. So, yeah, it is a jam-packed show. So I tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to be a little short in this first break. Let's knock out a couple of commercials real quick so that we can jump right into the meat and potatoes of this show, and we'll get started on the other side. Okay? Don't you go nowhere. We will be right back. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
The anticipation of having a baby brings much excitement and hundreds of decisions. When choosing where to have your baby, choose the best. Providence St. Joseph Medical Center. The new Women's Pavilion combines expertly trained medical staff with luxurious labor and delivery suites and the area's most advanced neonatal intensive care unit. You and your new baby will get the best start possible. For more information and a tour, call 1-888-HEALING. The road to healing leads to Providence.
Welcome to Dunkin'. There are 2 Dunkin' locations in the SCV. Both locations have outdoor seating, carry-out service, and delivery with Postmates, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. Use the Dunkin' app to order and accumulate points. The Canyon Country location on Sierra Highway near Via Princesa has drive-through service and is open till 7 p.m. The Bouquet Canyon location just off Newhall Ranch Road has curbside service and is now open till 7 p.m. The Santa Clarita Valley runs on Dunkin'.
Traffic brought to you by Reeves Automotive and the CHP, who remind motorcyclists to always wear a full coverage DOT-compliant helmet and assume drivers can't see you. New riders should take a California motorcycle safety course and always keep in mind that riders with passengers require more skill.
Set your kids' creativity with a new twist on fun, Painting with a Twist, where professional artists guide your child during each painting party to create a finished work of art they can proudly hang at home or give to a loved one. Private parties, birthday parties, Friday night teen night, kids camp, daily events all summer. Visit paintingwithatwist.com, Golden Valley and Santa Clarita near Target. Painting with a Twist is your party destination for kids of all ages.
No contract pest control. Did you hear that? Yes, Unipest has no contract, low impact, affordable, and environmentally and family friendly pest control options with orange oil or other family friendly products. Whether it's ants, spiders, gophers, termites, or bed bugs, Unipest Termite and Pest Control has an effective, eco-friendly option for you. Call Unipest today for a free orange oil inspection at 661-BUG-7575 or visit unipest.com.
Find the perfect job for you at College of the Canyon's Fall 2020 Virtual Job Fair. The Fall Job Fair is 100% live and online. If you're an employer looking for new recruits, this is the perfect opportunity to find them. And if you're a job seeker looking for employment, COC's Virtual Job Fair will let you connect online in real time with the employers seeking to fill their open positions. It's free and open to the public. October 27th, 28th, and 29th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information and to register, go to cocjobfair.com. That's cocjobfair.com.
I started using professional copy service probably 8-9 years ago.
Choosing the right copy service was a top priority for Ron Korn, president of Newhall Escrow.
He has supplied me with all of our copy machines, material for them, supplies for them, service for the machines.
Ron's lucky he called Sean Milligan, owner of Professional Copy Service.
Their service is great. Anytime I need Sean, he is there at our beckoning call. His service is great. We couldn't do without him.
Whether you have a small business or a large company, Professional Copy Service can handle it all.
We copy most everything that we produce in the office, and we use a ton of it.
Professional Copy Service, 299-5756. 299-5756. The only authorized Canon dealer for sales and service in Santa Clarita for Santa Clarita Professional Copy Service.
They're here. They're here for us. Our business is here, and we want to keep our business and give business to the local people.
Call Sean Milligan at Professional Copy Service, 299-5756.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson. And as I mentioned, we got a jam-packed show today, so we're just going to jump into it head first. My first guest today is Linda Brierly. She is the owner and operator of Need to Stretch. Linda started her career in massage therapy in 2002. She studied many different massage modalities, mostly therapeutic massage. She studied kinesiology, deep tissue integration, therapeutic stretching, PNF stretching, and myofascial release, just to name a few. She first practiced massage therapy in a clinical setting where she worked closely with a chiropractor, treating clients with chronic pain. She taught massage therapy and was actually the director of the massage program at Charter College for 5 years. There, Linda wrote the curriculum that would be used not only at that location, actually here in town, but at all of the school's campuses. Upon working with mostly clients with pain for years, she came up with the techniques that she and her team now use at Need to Stretch. Linda, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
It's so good to have you. We appreciate you coming in. Now, Linda, you're local, right? You've lived here in the Valley for a while. How long have you lived here in Santa Clarita?
I've lived here for about 12 years now.
All right. So, okay, cool. Long timer. All right. So now tell us, how did you first get into this line of work? How did you get into massage therapy and truly the therapeutical side of it, pain relief and things like that? How did you decide to get into this line of work?
You know, honestly, I had a lot of pain myself, and I really didn't know about massage. I was in my 20s, and so somebody recommended me to go get a massage, and when I was doing it, it really helped. And I was in between careers at the time and thought, this might be something I'd be interested in. And so I looked into it and I went to school, and I found I really just loved learning about the body. And then, you know, when I finished school, I loved working with people and making them feel better.
Yeah, it's nice when you can make a positive effect in someone's life that way. And especially, we're not talking about just helping someone relax after a long day or a long week of work, which is important, but you're helping people deal with some long-term pain management and relief in their lives. So now you're the owner and operator of Need to Stretch, and my listeners that listen on a regular basis know I love a good pun. It's not need, N-E-E-D, it's need, K-N-E-A-D, Need to Stretch. I absolutely love it. When did you decide to open? So when did you open Need to Stretch?
It was a little over 2 years ago now.
Okay.
And I had thought about it for about 4 years ago, but I just kept thinking about it. I owned another business at the time, and I knew it was something I always wanted to do. And then I just finally did it.
Gotta love that spirit of an entrepreneur who's willing to step off of that ledge and go out on their own, because you guys are the ones that are making it happen. You know, this town is built on small business, and so bless you. But so you do massage therapy, but you kind of specialize in stretching. Can you explain to our listeners what the difference is between massage therapy and stretch therapy, and do you do both there?
We do both. So traditional massage is usually done, without your clothes on and with oils and lotions. The stretch therapy, we stretch you. So we're just like you would stretch yourself, but you get a little bit further of a stretch when we do it for you. And your muscles are relaxed at the time we stretch you, instead of you having to use your muscles while you're stretching. And then the massage that we do, it's all on top of clothing. We're just getting in and basically kneading your muscles and applying compression to them to release the muscle fibers.
So that makes sense. So you're stretching folks out, and yeah, I will do my stretches in the morning. But you're right, keeping my balance or holding myself up or doing whatever. Right. You're exerting one muscle while you're stretching another one out. I can imagine that's very relaxing as well, to just be able to lay back and let you or your staff do the heavy lifting there as it will. So how did you learn stretch therapy? Is this something that you went to school for? Is it something that you studied along the way? How did you pick this up?
It is. When I went to massage school, we got to do electives. So I took all the electives and therapeutic stuff. So I actually took therapeutic stretching as one of my electives.
Oh.
And when I used to teach, it wasn't part of our program, but I like to just throw extra things in and, teach my students extra stuff. So I'd always teach them the therapeutic stretching.
Okay.
I just found it so beneficial.
Okay. And then have you, I don't know, is there any kind of innovation going on, or are these techniques that are thousands of years old that really haven't changed much?
I mean, basically stretching is stretching. There
Right.
are some new techniques, the PNF stretching. You actually have your client push back against you when you've stretched their muscle for 10 seconds. And then once they release it, the muscle relaxes and actually pushes a further stretch. It's really interesting to see.
Okay.
So we use those techniques too with it.
Okay. It sounds interesting. So if I'm going into Need to Stretch, how do I know if I need or would enjoy or would be more benefited by a stretch therapy versus massage therapy? How would I I'm kind of, for me, I'm looking at a menu of something that sounds really good versus something that I know is really enjoyable. That special on the menu can be a little risky to try if you've never had it before. How would I decide which would be best for me?
Well, what we usually do is we have a quick little consultation with you, and we ask you if you have any pain or any areas that you want to address. And then we'll ask you, too, do you prefer more stretching or more massage? We do a combination. And usually we will suggest to you what we think you need. Or most of the clients will just say, do whatever you need to do. My shoulder's killing me. And then we'll just go in and we use our senses and we feel and see what's going on with your shoulder, and we address what needs to be done. Sometimes we will go in and we'll do a lot more massage because the muscles are really knotted up, and then we'll do a little bit of stretching, and sometimes we'll just do a lot more stretching. It's just, we look at each individual and see what you need.
Kind of a diagnostic approach. You take it as it comes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably a good way to get started. I'm trying to think of our listeners out there that haven't done stretch therapy in the past, and what questions they might have. Is this something that gets painful? I know there are some massage techniques that can be, momentarily painful for the long-term relax. Is stretch therapy something that your patients typically struggle with a little bit?
It may be painful for like a second, but afterwards it feels great. It's not like when you get a deep tissue massage and you feel pain for the next few days. It's not like that at all. It may feel a little tense when you're pushing a stretch as far as it goes, but that's it. The second we release it, you feel better.
I can imagine. So it's kind of like that stretch in the morning that most of us do.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I've never done it myself. I enjoy a good massage, but producer Sarah has told me she's actually been with her husband to need to stretch, and she was telling me the other day as we were talking about having you on the show, she says, dude, you got to get there. You've got to try this. They are absolutely amazing. So I'm looking forward to it. But,
you have to come in.
Oh, I would love to. I know it, and we kind of asked the same question to all of our guests. How has COVID affected you? I mean, were you guys shut down for a while like everyone else was? And are you guys back open now? Have you had to make any adjustments?
Yeah, COVID, it really affected us a lot. We did have to shut down for months, and then we were allowed to reopen temporarily inside. It seemed like for 2 weeks, and then they shut us down again, and then they opened us back up.
Kind of like the hair salons.
We were allowed to do massage outside, and fortunately, we have a very large back patio. It's private. It has all kinds of greenery, so it's actually really nice, and our clients like it out there. So we've been able to work outside. We just have to mask up and disinfect everything and keep all the clients, we keep them really separated.
Okay. So typically, in the optimal situation, you guys are inside, but you're working outside now, which isn't a problem because, again, like you said, this is something that that your clients are fully clothed for, so there's no concern about that. Okay, interesting. So you're keeping people safe, healthy, and gosh, with this time of year, I bet that's really relaxing, enjoying, and enjoyable being out there in the garden, getting stretched out, getting a little massage.
Oh yeah, now that the heat's gone.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine it'd be a little rough a couple weeks ago when it was up to 115. That would be a little bit difficult, but this weekend would be a great weekend to get out there. It's going to be mid to low 70s. Get out there, get stretched, get a massage. Now, is this something that I can just call up and make an appointment for a session? Do you take walk-ins? What do I need to do to book my session?
So right now with COVID, we have to do appointments only.
Okay.
We can't have extra people in our lobby. So you can go online and book an appointment to our website. It's our name, KNEAD, the number 2, stretch.com. And you can make an appointment directly there, or you can call us and make an appointment too.
Okay, so need to stretch, KNEAD, the number 2, stretch.com, and or you can call and make an appointment. Is it something since it's therapeutic, I always wonder, do I need a referral from a doctor, or is it just like any other massage therapy? I can just call and make my own appointment.
So you do not need a referral from a doctor. However, the new rules now, if you have a referral from the doctor and you do not want to be outside, you can be indoors with a referral from a doctor.
Aha, I see. Okay, so if I do get a note from my doctor, I can actually go inside and okay, and that'll be helpful as we get into the cooler months, if that's something that that you're interested in doing. Okay, fantastic. And then if this is something that's referred to from a doctor, would you take my insurance? Is this something that, my doctors determine I need, some therapy on my knees or what have you? Would you then work with the insurance to help offset the cost a little bit?
Unfortunately, since we're classified as massage, no insurance takes it.
Okay. All right. Bummer.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have any specials going on right now?
We do. We have an introductory special. It's a 25-minute session for $29. And if you want the full 50-minute, we'll just double up on that for you. So it's a full 50-minute session for $58.
That's incredible. Wow. Okay. So basically $25 for 25 minutes?
Yeah, $29.
$29 for okay. $29 for 25 minutes. $60 or $59 for that. Wow, that is fantastic. What a great great prices to try it out. If you've never done this, if you've never tried the stretch therapy, a great opportunity to go in and check it out. And like I said, the weather is going to be absolutely perfect for it, to get out there in the garden and get a little stretch, get a little massage. Linda, can you tell our listeners where you're located? Are you central in town?
Yeah, we're in Valencia. We are on Town Center Drive. Our actual address is 24510 Town Center Drive, and we're over by the Hyatt Hotel.
Okay.
So we're on the same side of the street, and we use their parking structure.
Fantastic. So, yeah, absolutely in the center of town, right there by the mall. Fantastic. Okay, and one more time, I know you gave that website, needtostretch.com, KNEAD, the number 2, stretch.com, and then do you have a phone number that our listeners can reach at?
I do. It's 661-888-1044.
661-888-1064?
No, 44.
1044.
888-1044.
Perfect. 661-888-1044. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the Facebook Live chat so our friends that are watching on Facebook Live can pick that up and give you a call a little bit later on. What are your hours over there, Linda?
Well, right now we had adjusted hours. We're doing mornings from 8 to noon, and then we come back in the evening 6 to 8 because of the heat.
Okay.
Which now we're changing our hours for next week, so we should have full hours open again. So we should be 8 to 7 every day.
Okay, fantastic. And I'm sure you're posting updates on your website of those new hours and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, terrific. Linda, this actually sounds really relaxing, really enjoyable. I'm going to have to give you a call soon and check this out. So I will be stopping by real soon. Hope lots of our listeners are thinking the same thing. Again, great way to kick off your weekend, or if you're in the middle of a difficult week, a great way to just relax, stretch things out, keep your body in tip-top shape. Linda, I want to thank you so much for calling in. You have a wonderful weekend, okay?
Thank you. You too, and look forward to seeing you too.
Certainly. I'll be in soon. I will. We've got to take another quick commercial, but don't you go away. When we come back, we'll be talking about the possibility of local school campuses reopening in some grades. This is SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Traffic brought to you by the law firm of Owen Patterson Owen, helping Santa Clarita drivers recover from life-changing accidents for over 3 decades. Owen Patterson Owen, encouraging you to drive safely. Visit opolaw.com.
Hi, Kirk Stinson here with Plumbing by Kirk, your hometown plumber. With another tip, close your sink drain and remove your expensive jewelry when entering the shower to avoid costly plumbing expenses. But if it does happen, shut off the water immediately and call Plumbing by Kirk.
We invite you to visit our website for free plumbing advice at plumbingbykirk.com or give us a call, 263-6519. That's 263-6519.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Call Plumbing by Kirk.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
Our trash has got to go somewhere, and Chiquita Canyon Landfill is helping make the Santa Clarita Valley a little greener. Our local landfill creates clean energy from our waste disposal to power 10,000 homes each year. With their 9.2 megawatt clean energy facility harnessing the landfill's methane gas, you can feel good that the waste from your home in the SCV is helping create a clean energy source. Chiquita Canyon Landfill is our partner in sustainable living.
Chiquita Canyon is helping lead the way to a greener future.
Friends, this is Congressman Mike Garcia. Our country and our state are at a crossroads. We must prevent our country from turning into what California has become, and we need to stop Sacramento policies from reaching Washington. We can return our nation to that shining city on the hill, the nation that my father and grandfather immigrated to in pursuit of the American dream, the American dream that I defended as a Navy combat fighter pilot. We need to lower taxes, repeal AB 5, which is costing hundreds of thousands of jobs, and pass term limits to get rid of career politicians. Career politicians, they run from the fight. As a fighter pilot, I flew toward it. I'm Mike Garcia, and I approve this message because my service did not end when I stepped out of the cockpit for the last time. I'd be honored to have your vote. I'm Mike Garcia, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Senator Scott Wilk is different.
He brings people together to solve the tough problems we face.
And Senator Wilk delivers.
He backed bipartisan emergency funding to fight the spread of COVID-19.
Scott helped bring 6,500 new jobs to the high desert and is working to safely rebuild our local economy.
Senator Wilk cares. He knows people need help. That's why he is fighting to fix the state's EDD problem and clear the backlog of unemployment claims.
Why he is working to prevent evictions for COVID-affected tenants during the pandemic.
And make prescription drugs more affordable.
So people won't have to choose between paying for life-saving medications and food.
Senator Scott Wilk.
Putting party politics aside.
Scott Wilk. He delivers.
Ad paid for by California Labor and Business Alliance, CLAB, sponsored by building trades, correctional peace officers, and apartment rental organizations and energy providers. Committee major funding from Chevron. Not authorized by a candidate or a committee controlled by a candidate.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley. I am now joined by Amanda Fisher and April Cawthron. Amanda is the executive director of iLead California. She brings more than 2 decades of educational experience to iLead, having served as a teacher, assistant principal, director, and assistant superintendent. And if you think you're OGSCV, Amanda's family has lived in this valley for well over 100 years. And April is the director of facilities at SCVI and iLead schools. She's been an educator for over 3 decades. As a teacher, a school director, she's specialized in school leadership development, school safety, and operations. Amanda and April, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much for joining us. You know, I try to get, as we're an education-based show and we focus on all things iLead and SCVI, we try to keep our families here in the Valley updated on how things are going, because, you know, that's the one thing that every parent asks themselves when they wake up in the morning is, when is my kid going to get to go back to school, right? So let's start with just a quick general temperature check. So, Amanda, you are the executive director for SCVI and iLead Schools. So, we've got, about a half dozen, a little bit more than that, schools here in Southern California. How's distance learning going this year?
So for iLead, I really think distance learning is going really well. It's hard work for all involved,
Yes.
for our facilitators and our students. But I continue to be impressed by our facilitators' innovation, their dedication to making their students successful. We do see, though, that there are certain students that are thriving with this model, and then there's other students that are really struggling with this model. And we want to be able to meet all of their needs.
Yeah.
The beauty of iLead is really focused on individuals, and that's what we want to do, is meet our kids where they are and provide them with instruction and resources tailored to them. So that's iLead. But Matt, you forgot to mention in the intro that I'm also a mom of 4.
Yes.
And so here's the candid part of it. Distance learning is really hard. And some days it's okay, and some days I just want to cry and tear my hair out, right? And I'm sure that's probably how most families are feeling.
Yeah, it's interesting when, people ask me as an educator, Matt, how's the distance learning thing going? And I say pretty much the same thing as you. I have so much empathy for teachers out there. It's difficult, but things seem to be going well. And then I'll always, like if I say that at a barbecue or something like that, I'll hear a parent in the background go, ha! It's
right.
I don't know about your house, but it's not going well at my house. We almost had an attempted murder yesterday. So it can be
right. And some days it's beautiful. It
Right.
just depends on the day.
So yeah, and that's like I said, everybody's kind of wondering when are we going to be able to go back, and there's been kind of these rumblings or winds blowing lately about the potential of our littles maybe being able to get back on campus soon, kindergarten through 2nd grade, possibly getting waivers, going back on campus. Is that true? And if so, how soon can we expect that to happen?
Sure. So, yes, this is a possibility. A couple weeks ago, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors approved a motion and asked the Los Angeles Department of Public Health to consider a waiver for TK through 2 students. So the waiver application was released a little over a week ago. I think it was last Monday.
Okay.
And the Los Angeles Department of Public Health has an application now. The application looks pretty normal, but it does ask for letters of support from learners' families, staff, and community. So we're in the process right now of gathering all of this information because, of course, this is dependent on how many kids actually want to come back. How are facilitators feeling? Are they ready to come back? So you have to have all of those pieces in order to submit the application. Once the application is completed, it then gets submitted to the Los Angeles Department of Public Health. They say that it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to review it. The county plans to approve 30 schools per week, and priority will be based on the highest percentage of students that qualify for free and reduced meals. And then they said also that it will be spread out over the 5 supervisorial districts. So they're going to kind of spread it out as they're approving those 30 schools. As of, I think it was the 21st or 22nd, there was only 4 schools that had been approved. So it's happening. It's just slow. And then, of course, once they grant it, we have to be ensure that all the schools are open in adherence to the Los Angeles County guidance. We had our first visit yesterday by the Los Angeles Department of Public Health.
Okay, so they're visiting even in advance of us submitting the waivers.
Yes.
Okay, so I can imagine this is probably why the rollout has got to be slower, is because they're doing their due diligence to make sure that each of these schools are opening up safely, keeping kids and staff safe. I want to let our listeners know, you keep referring to facilitators. That's what we call our teachers at SCVI and iLead schools, not because they are anything different. We're fully qualified, credentialed teachers, educators in the classroom, but it's just a reminder to our learners and ourselves that what we do with our educational professionals is a little bit different. We facilitate learning rather than dictate it like is done in a more traditional model. So April, you're the director of facilities. I want to ask you, I'm sure you've been real busy these last couple of weeks. What types of measures is your team taking in order to ensure the safety of staff and students in the event that they are able to return soon?
Well, Matt, all of our maintenance teams have been on site since March, and they're deep cleaning, making sure that our HVA systems are serviced and in good repair. When we return to school, our staff is also ready to partner with our maintenance staff and be a part of that cleaning process and make sure that high traffic areas are cleaned often.
Okay.
We've also purchased electrostatic sprayers, which is sprayers that we can use in the evening time that have like a 15-second kill time to go through all of our sites as well.
Wow, so at night you're going to go through and basically zap the whole school.
Exactly, like a big giant Lysol can.
Nice.
We'll also be making sure that the ventilation is turned on 2 hours before anybody arrives, just to keep that ventilation moving through the space. But we also have the ability to do outdoor classrooms, weather permitting, so that they're not stuck inside all the time, and that facilitators really have that option to take their classes outside, continue to stay 6 feet apart, and social distance as well.
Okay. And then what kind of policies, procedures, things like that can families expect when we do come back on? Is the drop-off, being at school experience pickup going to be different? Are you going to be checking temperatures, things like that?
Well, yes, we've partnered with the LA County Health Department, and the reason why I say partnered is because they've been really wanting to make sure that we understand that they're there to be partners in this whole process and not to police us.
Okay.
So we had our first visit with them yesterday, and they were really complimentary of our plan. And that plan includes temperature checks as the students come in. All of our families will be filling out a health questionnaire before they arrive to school, which also will help us with contact tracing.
Okay.
So, and then every single one of our site also has a COVID task force team that is part of that process. So daily temperature checks will also be done to our staff as well as health questionnaires.
Okay. And then, April, I know a big part of your job is also preparing for those unfortunate eventualities that do happen at schools sometimes, whether it's fires, earthquakes, or anything else. And so when we're talking about COVID, God forbid if there were a positive test or a minor outbreak, what's the plan? Can you kind of sum up how that would be handled if there were some positive tests on our campus with some of our learners, some of our facilitators?
Yes. So, Matt, we're really excited about what the work that we've done on this portion that you're talking about.
Okay.
And we basically have put together a scenario checklist, which is called our coronavirus COVID-19 response plan. And it's a live document that lists out really every situation that could potentially happen. So the first one is a staff member or learner has been presumed positive for COVID, and what's your first step? So you click on that, and it takes you to a fillable form that you'll fill out all that information because those questions will be asked by the health department.
Okay.
And each situation is a little bit different. So the health department, again, is partnering with us on each of those. So if we have one case, we call the health department, and one of the doctors comes back and explains to us what our protocol will be.
Okay.
But our plan is also to be transparent with all of our families because we want people to be able to have the choice and the comfort of knowing that it's not going to be kept a secret.
Okay. Okay, good. So you're not only working closely with the health department, but the plan is to maintain strong and frequent communication with the families. So because all of this is like much of life, risk management, right? And our families need to be able to know, what's going on and be able to make those active decisions for their children and their families. That's really important. I'm glad to hear you've got kind of that flow chart. If this happens, then we do this. If this happens, then we do this.
Our staff is really excited about it, I think, and everybody will have access to it.
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of them can't wait to get back to see their kids. It's not the same working with their kids through a two-dimensional screen. So, Amanda, is any word on the rest of our students? I know it's so tough being digital for our littles, but SCVI is kindergarten through 12th grade, and the rest of our schools go up to at least 8th grade. Any idea when the rest of our kids might be able to come back on campus?
Yeah, this is like the magical question, right? I wish I had the answer.
Yeah.
All I can say is I think that things are slowly moving in that direction. As probably most of you know, that over a month ago, the state allowed for the county to open small cohorts of kids in all grade levels, K through 12, who are most in need. So they were able to open up to focus on special education, English language learners, and assessment. There's limitations. You can only have 12 kids per class with 2 adults and no more than 10% of students on campus. Well, Wednesday of this week, the Los Angeles Department of Public Health increased that percentage and said you can go up to 25% of students on campus. So I think it's happening between the TK2 waiver and between these small cohorts and meeting the kids who are most at need. We're moving in the direction of starting to come back. April can tell you we participate in webinars and calls every week to learn the most up-to-date information. We continue to reevaluate our plan, and based on our staff and families' preference, we hope to begin to slowly start bringing more and more kids back to campus. We're ready, we're prepared, and it's just hopefully a matter of time.
So I guess the message to parents is we're working on it, we're getting there, but keep it what you're doing. Stay patient, stay mentally healthy, and we'll get your kids back on campus as soon as possible. Amanda, April, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Keep us posted, okay?
Thanks, Matt.
All right, ladies, have a great weekend. Go Dodgers. We're going to take a quick commercial break and get caught up with the news, but we will be right back. I'm Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
Sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed. It's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KHTS, or call 800-973-3927 and use the promo code KHTS. That's 800-973-3927, or MyPillow.com and use the promo code KHTS.
Paid for by Scott Wilk for State Senate.
We know California has the highest state income tax rate in the country, the highest state sales tax in the country, and the highest gas tax. We know that in spite of all those taxes, Sacramento's special interests and their pet candidates like Kip Muller always want more. We know Kip Muller wants to gut Prop 13, raise property taxes by billions, and crush small businesses already devastated by the COVID-19 shutdown. We know Kip Muller supports Sacramento's disastrous job-killing AB 5, calling it an incredible victory, even as it put freelancers out of work. We know Kip Muller encourages extremists who want to defund the police, even as crime rises and rioters burn and loot our cities, raising taxes, costing jobs, defunding police. He may only have lived in our district for 1 year, but we know Kip Muller, and we know better.
Mend Cryotherapy is open. As always, they continue to clean and sanitize all equipment. Social distancing will be enforced and hand sanitizer will be provided throughout the facility. Temperature checks will be done daily on each employee, and masks will be provided if forgotten. They have amazing welcome back specials, including the $99 performance package, which includes a cryo session, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which boosts recovery of damaged cells, the aromatherapy oxygen bar, Nucom, and infrared sauna. There's also a beauty package with a cryofacial, infrared sauna, and more. And don't forget their extensive selection of health and wellness products, including CBD. Mend Cryotherapy is open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. For more information, go to MEND, MEND, cryotherapy.com. Mend Cryotherapy on Newhall Ranch Road in the Gateway Shopping Center.
KHTS, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 9 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
They're in the home stretch. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump heads to Florida for 2 rallies today after a final debate with Joe Biden that not as many were watching, apparently. Variety magazine reporting early ratings of more than 21 million viewers over several networks, but that would fall short of the first debate. Over 50 million Americans have already voted.
With 11 days to go to Election Day, Americans have already accomplished 100% of all the early voting done 4 years ago. That reflects, 1, voter enthusiasm, and 2, fears of contracting coronavirus by going in person. In most states across the country, registered Democrats have outpaced registered Republicans with the vote by mail. But from here until Election Day, registered Republicans are expected to make up for that and outpace Democrats.
Fox's Phil Keating in Orlando. The president plans to vote tomorrow while visiting his Mar-a-Lago home in West Palm Beach. Joe Biden plans to talk about COVID and the economy near his Delaware home today. The president just announcing another Mideast peace deal with Sudan, ready to recognize Israel, the third Arab nation agreeing to normalize ties in recent months. The White House says the president's also notified Congress he'll remove Sudan from the U.S. terror list.
Stations, this is Fox News Radio, and you're coming down on your Unanchored channel in the next little while. We'll have tape playback of President Trump.
The State Department
He's speaking at the White House after announcing Israel is normalizing relations with Sudan. Again, coming up on your Unanchored channel in a little while, please monitor your Shoutdown channel. We'll have tape playback of some sound from President Trump speaking at the White House after announcing Israel normalizing relations with Sudan.
As well as potentially other locations in Turkey. U.S. citizens are advised to exercise heightened caution in locations where Americans or foreigners may gather, including large office buildings or shopping malls.
Fox's John Decker in Washington. America is listening to Fox
News. At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
A bit short at 99.9% of households counted.
U.S. Census officials say that most people were tallied in the once-a-decade American head count, but that the remaining 0.1% of households not counted translates to hundreds of thousands of people, meaning for some communities and states, perhaps a coming change in congressional seats and less cash. In the federal government's annual $1.5 trillion state funding, local and state governments and civil rights groups sued for a census count extension. The last week, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration, which argued it needed enough time to count totals before the year-end deadline.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. As college football's Big Ten Conference gets ready to return, they're making it clear they won't be rescheduling around the coronavirus.
If a game can't be played because of COVID-19 positivity rates, it will be deemed a no contest. That's the ruling of the Big Ten ahead of kickoff for the conference's football season Friday, when number 14 in the nation, Wisconsin, plays host to Illinois. The Big Ten is attempting to play an 8-game in-conference season over 8 weeks, with a 9th game for all 14 teams during Big Ten Champions Week. In order to compete in the conference championship, a team must play at least 6 games according to the Big Ten's tiebreaker rules, but if a game is canceled, it won't count as a win or a loss for either program. Big Ten protocols will order teams to shut down practice if their positivity rate exceeds 5% on their roster. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
A veggie burger is still a burger. At least according to European lawmakers, the EU Parliament rejecting proposals backed by the meat industry that could have led to a ban for certain terms, including veggie burgers, soy steaks, and vegan sausages. Europe's largest farmers association argued it's misleading to consumers. Opponents of a ban suggest the current terminology is more environmentally friendly by making vegetarian products more appealing. On Wall Street, stocks are lower. Right now, the Dow is down 89 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
There are two encouraging readings on the economy from private research firm Market. Both the readings for the service sector and manufacturing indicate business is improving this month. Economists say even with the latest encouraging readings, though, the economy is still in a shrunken state compared with before the pandemic, and it could take a year or longer for growth to return to normal. Intel shares are losing ground. Analysts at Bank of America Merrill Lynch are concerned about Intel's manufacturing issues. Holiday Inn's parent company says it's past the worst impact of the pandemic and is being helped by improving travel in the U.S. and China. Intercontinental Hotels Group, IHG, one of the largest hotel chains in the world, also owns Regent and Crowne Plaza. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
Customers, students, and staff expect a new level of clean. Cintas has the essential products and services to help you carry out cleaning protocols effectively. Cintas performs surface sanitizer and disinfectant spray services to common touchpoints, installs and refills touchless hand sanitizer dispensers, and provides commercial laundry services to help minimize employee exposure. Give everyone the confidence they need to keep coming back. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260 CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
Accidents happen, but rest assured Patterson's Collision Center is here to help. Patterson's is a family-owned and operated collision repair facility providing the Santa Clarita Valley with premium collision repairs. Patterson's prides itself on being the only California-certified green repair shop in all of Santa Clarita. They are insurance claim specialists and even offer payment plans for your deductible. For personalized, friendly service, visit pattersonscollisioncenter.com or call 294-1011 and let Patterson's Collision Center help ease your worries today.
Hi, I'm Matt Funicello. My family and I have lived in Santa Clarita for over a decade, and we are proud to call Santa Clarita our home. Did you know, in 2019, Santa Clarita was named the 9th safest city in California, but as of 2020, we ranked 7th. Our law enforcement officers do a great job of keeping us safe. Santa Clarita covers over 50 square miles and has a population of over 200,000. We have over 30 parks and thousands of acres of open space. Our residents enjoy over 150 miles of bike, walking, and hiking trails, an award-winning Paseo system, great aquatic, senior, and 2 community centers, and so much more. We have been named among the happiest, safest, family-oriented cities in the country. And it's all brought to you by your elected Santa Clarita Republican leaders. Let's keep Santa Clarita a great place to live, work, and play.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Partly sunny today. We're looking at highs in the mid-70s, overnight lows in the 50s. More of the same tomorrow. Then on Sunday, a drop in temps, mostly cloudy, with highs only in the 60s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, go to hometownstation.com or find us on social media at KHTS Radio.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
And welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to Eye on the Valley, SCVI and iLead Schools weekly radio show. We are here every Friday morning, 8 to 10 a.m., and we're glad that you're here with us as well. We just spoke with Linda Brierly in the first hour. She is the owner and operator of Need to Stretch. Love me a pun. It's spelled KNEAD, number 2, stretch. She's got a double pun in there. She's out there limbering folks up, so check her out. We've posted the website on the Facebook Live feed here on the KHTS Radio Facebook Live. And we also spoke with Amanda Fisher and April Calthrone from SCVI and iLead Schools about the possibility of the younger grades getting back on campus soon. I know you're out there doing your distance learning thing, and you're wondering when your kids are going to be able to get back on campus. Well, Amanda updated us on the process that we're currently going through here in LA County for schools to apply for waivers, and it sounds like a good process, a thoughtful process, a judicious process, but one that's going to take some time. So going to just ask you guys to continue to be patient and keep working with your kids. You know, parents ask me all the time, Matt, what do I do? This is just so stressful, and I'm worried that my kids are falling behind, and they're just, they're on the computer all day long. And so just a couple of tips if your distance learning has not been the optimal experience for you. Enjoy the good days, and if you're having a bad day, maybe just punt. Go outside, take a hike. Because when people say I'm worried that my kid's falling behind, my question is always, oh yeah, falling behind who? Because we're all doing this. So don't worry about it. Your kids, I know it's been 7 months, but your kids are not falling behind. They're doing fine. The most important thing is that you and your kids stay happy and emotionally healthy. So you'll be good, and we'll get through this soon enough. 2020 has turned just about everything upside down. As I said, everybody's a homeschooler now. All of our restaurants are al fresco, and our sports are being played in a bubble. But one way or another, life continues on. But what if you're a high school senior? Will you be able to get out of the car at graduation? Is there even going to be a prom this year? And what about college? Well, here to talk to us about it is Chris Nilsson. Chris works as the upper school academic, college, and career advisor at SCVI. She grew up in the San Fernando Valley and graduated from Cal State Northridge. That's right, she's a matador like me. She got her BA in sociology, criminology, and corrections, and her master's in education with an administrative credential. She also attended Cal State Long Beach, where she graduated with a master's in social work and has a PPS credential. That's right, she's a lifelong learner. She started working and actually had a very successful career with the Department of Child and Family Services as a family reunification caseworker. And then Chris also worked for Pinecrest Schools for about 18 years before they closed their doors in 2016. Y'all remember Pinecrest? Well, Chris now lives in the Simi Valley with her husband of more than 25 years and their 2 daughters. She's found her passion as a high school counselor and enjoys visiting college campuses across the United States. She's currently finishing her college counseling certificate from UCLA. Go Bruins. Chris, it is good to have you back on the show.
Thank you, Matt. It's a pleasure to be back.
Oh, well, it's always good to have you. Go Dodgers. Chris, now,
yes.
A while back, you actually used to host this very show. Do you miss it?
I do a little bit. I do. I think it was a little stressful for me because I know actually I'm a talker, so it really shouldn't be stressful. But, things get so busy. So you're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate that because I'm not giving the show back. And besides, you're doing some really important stuff for our kids. And I'm glad to sit here and talk about the amazing things that you and the other folks at SCVI are doing. As I mentioned in your introduction, Chris, you've worked as a caseworker, a school leader, a radio show host, but you found your passion as a high school counselor. What is it that you enjoy so much about working with kids as a counselor?
Oh, I just love the relationships that I form with them, meeting with them, talking about their futures, and also understanding that, college isn't the path for everyone, but it's, being able to talk with them about the adventure of going out in the world and finding, what their passion may be or what their career may be. And I kind of wish that I had gotten into this field a little bit earlier. I've had definitely a career of different jobs and different opportunities, but education and working with the high school kids in college and career counseling has been the most fun.
So you talk about how college isn't necessarily the path for everyone, and we need people doing all different kinds of things in our community to keep us vibrant. So you do the college counseling side, but what else do you do with your kids? What do you do to get them pointed in the right direction, whatever that may be for the individual?
Yeah, I meet with everyone individually. So what I love about SCVI is I'm able to kind of provide that private counseling that some families may pay for, especially when it comes to college. I provide that. So I have the ability to form those close relationships. And there's different things that, applications that we use. Road Trip Nation is an awesome resource. There's all kinds of assessments out there. There's a new one that I'm using this year called Use Science, and it's basically a whole bunch of different games that kids play in an assessment to kind of see where their strengths and maybe where their interests are. I think a lot of times, kids fear, I don't know what I want to do or study in college or after school, and not many kids do at the age of 18.
Right.
And so some do, but if they don't, this assessment kind of, it's one assessment that kind of has them look at what are my strengths and what am I interested in based on my answers to questions? Mm-hmm. And then maybe I should kind of look in that direction to see what jobs might be out there that fit with that.
So you mentioned something important. I talk to kids that attend some of the local high schools, and we've got some of the best high schools in the state right here in Santa Clarita, and they're great schools. But when you've got 3,000, 4,000 kids attending a high school, some of our high school graduates never met their guidance counselor, right? Or if they did, it was just right. A cursory, make an appointment with me if you want. You meet with every one of your kids at SCVI?
I do. And I think, and popping into classes, I have that ability to do that. We're a small campus. Actually, I'm very excited because I was able to move my office on campus. And so it's twice the size because I tend to have kids, coming to my office and, hey, Nelson, can we talk about something? So, and in personal experience, my younger daughter, she's 18. She just graduated last year from high school, and she hardly knew her counselor, mm-hmm. which was very difficult. Luckily, she had a mom that kind of knew the processes of college and everything. But just seeing, from the communication that I was receiving as a parent from the public high school, there wasn't that much there. So I definitely feel, for those, I applied to college 30 years ago. It was so different back then than it is now. And I would be completely overwhelmed as a parent and as a learner if I didn't have somebody kind of guiding me and giving me the information. So it's really important to me to make sure that it's not such a stressful process in their senior year, and I am available now, of course, through Zoom, through texting, whatever the kids need. I so enjoy being able to provide that kind of guidance to them, and I feel very lucky at SCVI.
Wow, you talk about personal attention, and you mentioned how kids will often drop by your office. That I know my way around the SCVI upper school campus, and I don't know that there's any place more relaxing and welcoming than your office. You've usually got the diffuser going, and it seems to smell like vanilla in your office all the time. You've always got a candy jar open. It's kind of a lounge feel. So it's a great place for kids to hang out and just kind of relax and contemplate some of those difficult decisions that are weighing on our high school juniors and seniors. Now, Chris, I know that SCVI's graduation requirements are a little bit different. They're a little bit higher, a little bit more rigorous than most of the traditional high schools in town. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, what SCVI requires, and why we set the standard a little bit higher?
Sure. So at SCVI, we have the A through G track. So A through G means they are college prep level courses that in the state of California require learners to take in high school so that they can qualify to apply. So what SCVI has done is all learners that graduate from SCVI have the ability to apply to a four-year college. Even if they may not want to, the opportunity is there. So in that curriculum is the 2 years of foreign language that's required, which is not a high school requirement to take a foreign language. It is really a college requirement. They want 2 years, 3 years recommended to apply in California or a lot of colleges around the country. And so we put that in. So the kids really don't have to worry so much about, am I taking the right classes, because we provide that in our curriculum for them. So yes, everyone that graduates can apply to a four-year college or university. And what I love about that is the the rigor and what we kind of expect of the kids is definitely higher than maybe surrounding high schools, but I know our kids can do it, and we're providing them with more opportunities. And in the end, if they decide to take a gap year, for example, or they would like to go right into the workforce, or maybe go to a community college first and then transfer, they can have an array of choices. It really, makes me feel so sad if a kid, doesn't really go that route. They may not apply. And then later on in their senior year, they think, oh my gosh, I really kind of wish I did. And that opportunity has kind of passed them by. So what SCVI is doing is creating the best choice for them with all the other choices they can have when they graduate.
That exact scenario happened with my best friend in high school. He wasn't really very scholastically minded, you might say, first couple of years of high school. And then as we got toward the end of junior year, I'm starting to look at all these different schools and take campus tours and things like that. Well, that got him motivated and that got him excited. So the two of us made an appointment to talk to our college guidance counselor. And this is, again, end of junior year. And our college guidance counselor said, well, man, to my best friend, he says, you closed that window for yourself. You didn't take the coursework that you needed to take to go to a 4-year college. So if you want to go to college, your only option is junior college. Now, COC here in town is one of the best junior colleges out there, and it's a great option. But unfortunately for him, that was his only option because he didn't make the right decisions as a freshman, a sophomore, as a junior. At SCVI, what you're saying is that window is going to stay open. As long as you're on track to graduate, you're on track to go to college should you choose. So that's awesome. So you mentioned, Chris, you're working with the kids on Zoom. You're working remotely. Is this working? Because this is college planning time. This is when kids are starting to submit applications. How is this all working? How are you able to meet with kids and their families and things like that?
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. I mean, and I'm sure everyone can agree with me. The virus is yucky. It is just such a change in everything. But what I do love about the silver lining of having this situation is, it puts us kind of out of our comfort zone. So having to kind of counsel through Zoom, I actually feel luckier than a lot of the facilitators. I know it must be hard, Zooming in, having, a lesson plan you have to do. When I meet with kids, they want to talk to me on Zoom because we're talking about their future. And so it's been a little bit more challenging because on site, kids just pop by my office. Hey, Nelson, can I ask you a question? And it's great. Here, there's kind of an appointment system. They go in, they look at my Google Calendar, and they pick an appointment. And for kids, they're Zooming, all day, and they've got assignments to do, and even on their asynchronous days. And so I think an extra Zoom meeting isn't always something that they like to do. But I have been. And actually this year I have over 30 kids, probably out of our class of 52, that are applying to 4-year colleges. And so even though we have the virus, what's amazing is what the college world has done is providing so many virtual opportunities. We actually had a SCVI college visit from Janet. She is the admissions rep from Syracuse yesterday. Oh, wow. And so I'm also trying to provide those opportunities where kids can meet one-on-one with admissions counselors. There's been so many webinar, college fairs. I think, and the kids are always questioning, oh my gosh, this is the virus, what's going to happen? The college application process and all those things is kind of the same, except most colleges are test optional this year. So I have a lot of kids that don't have to worry about taking the SAT or the ACT to get into college because they're all test optional, because the testing centers have closed. There's not a great opportunity for everyone. And so this is actually the first year where kids don't really have to stress about those tests. So it's pretty exciting.
Wow, yeah, that is amazing. And I think our listeners are starting to get a good idea as to how you're able to provide such personalized service, like you mentioned, able to give kind of that private for a rather large fee counseling service free of charge to all of your seniors at SCVI. You've only got 52 of them. So
I know. Right?
That is amazing. What about, because one thing that families often look forward to is those college visits. How are your kids handling college visits this year? Is everything just, take a virtual tour?
Yeah, unfortunately, and as a parent, I think this year is especially crucial. I had to kind of go through that as well last year. My daughter applied to about 12 colleges, and before that, when we were able to travel, if I went to a conference, we actually took her to Boston to check out some schools. And so a couple of the schools, in fact, the one that she's attending now, which is UC Santa Cruz, we never visited that school. And so we just visited in August, but she had already accepted that she was going to go there. So it's definitely more challenging. When we went in August, it just, reaffirmed, that this was the choice that was good for her. And seeing the campus is so great because virtually is difficult. And I think, but I have to say, in California, definitely in LA County, things are tough with the virus, but across the nation, there are colleges that are still having campus visits. Mm-hmm. So of course you have to worry about flying there and all that goes with that. And I know that's hard. And a lot of kids can't afford to do that. So the virtual opportunities are good. There are, following the colleges on social media, kind of giving these kids direction. That's pretty much what we have to do now. And I'm hoping, maybe in the near future, maybe next year, kids will be able to go to campuses.
Yeah, gosh, it is so tough. And we talked about it with Amanda and April last break is the tough part is not knowing, right? Well, I'm a junior now. Will I be able to go on college visits next year? I don't know. Nobody knows. It is so tough. I think you probably said it pretty succinctly. COVID stinks. This is a real bummer. We're talking with Chris Nilsson, the Upper School Academic College and Career Advisor at SCVI Charter School. We're going to take a quick break, Chris, but please stick around. We've got a lot more we want to talk to you about when is the right time to apply, how do kids apply. Want to talk a little bit more about the SAT and finding that right college for you. We will be right back with more on college admissions during the pandemic. You're listening to SCVI Charter School's Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVI, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLead's founding school, SCVI combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVI has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLeadSantaClarita.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence, your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what's best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or visit resurgenceit.com.
Moms, dads, this is Cardin Ellis, owner of Unipest. If your house has ants, spiders, or gophers, or you want a free orange oil termite inspection, you have to call Unipest Termite and Pest Control, Santa Clarita's only factory-certified orange oil pest control company. We specialize in organic, low-impact, and traditional pest control options that are all kid-friendly, pet-friendly, and affordable with no contracts, and we're SCV-owned and operated. Call us at 661-BUG-7575 or visit unipest.com.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
paid for by Scott Wilk for State Senate.
We know California has the highest state income tax rate in the country, the highest state sales tax in the country, and the highest gas tax. We know that in spite of all those taxes, Sacramento's special interests and their pet candidates like Kip Muller always want more. We know Kip Muller wants to gut Prop 13, raise property taxes by billions, and crush small businesses already devastated by the COVID-19 shutdown. We know Kip Muller supports Sacramento's disastrous job-killing AB 5, calling it an incredible victory, even as it put freelancers out of work. We know Kip Muller encourages extremists who want to defund the police, even as crime rises and rioters burn and loot our cities, raising taxes, costing jobs, defunding police. He may only have lived in our district for 1 year, but we know Kip Muller, and we know better.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is your official Santa Clarita Dodger station. You can catch all evening games right here on your hometown station. For all the latest news and updates on your Los Angeles Dodgers, KHTS has you covered. Go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Yeah, got my man checking in on us, making sure we're doing well, making sure we're safe and everything's going well. We appreciate you, brother. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is SCVI and iLead Charter Schools, Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. We are here this morning with Chris Nilsson. She is SCVI's Upper School Academic College and Career Advisor. Chris, we were talking before the break about college application and all the good stuff in the age of the coronavirus. So for families that are starting to look forward to it, or maybe they're getting a little stressed. I've got a high school senior right now, and we haven't really started anything. When is the right time for young people to start planning for college? And then when are we getting to the oops, you're too late phase?
Yeah, we hope we don't get to that phase.
Right.
I think in regard high school, even before high school, obviously we can have the conversation about college and kind of thinking ahead. In 9th grade and 10th grade, it's more the focus on the learners themselves, maybe kind of what their strengths are, what their challenges might be, focusing on, taking those rigorous courses like the IB ones that we offer at the high school. But usually in junior year is when I really start with the kids. Coming into high school in 9th grade is such a transition from middle school that I don't want to bombard them so much with all the college stuff. But if we do have college visits, for example, coming on campus, or virtually, I do kind of provide those opportunities for all the grades at high school. Great. And so spring semester of junior year is really when that individual we meet, we talk about what their interests are, and we make a college list together. And then over the summer, kids sometimes maybe write their essays or they start doing that, and I provide them with help with that. And then starting in senior year is really, it's not too late. A lot of the deadlines for colleges isn't until January, February, maybe even March for some. Other colleges have what's called rolling admissions, which means you fill out the application, you turn it in, they read it, they get back to you right away. So even if we're getting into November, it's still not too late for kids to take the time to do some research. We can meet together. We can look at colleges that might interest them. So there really is a lot of time. The only real hard deadline that we seem to come across is the California public schools. So the Cal State system and the University of California system, though that deadline is November 30th. For most of those colleges, and it's a hard deadline. And so if kids miss that, they may miss the opportunity to attend a public college in California.
And kids, some of your parents are going to be a little disappointed if you don't apply to those state schools because, some of them can get a little expensive out there. But we'll talk about that in a minute because even the private schools aren't necessarily out of financial reach for all of our families. Let's get into that in a second, but I wanted to ask you about caliber of schools, Chris, because I remember when I was in school, I looked at colleges kind of like, one of those big digital thermometers on The Price is Right. right? There were your top colleges. And if you qualified, you would apply for Harvard, Brown, Cornell, those Ivy League schools. And if you were a notch below that, then you would shoot for, the Berkeleys and the UCLAs and USCs. And then if you were, a notch down from that, you'd maybe start looking at maybe a small independent school, or, you and I went to CSUN. But you talk with your families about finding not the quote-unquote best college. You want to apply to the best college, but you talk about finding the right fit for each kid. What do you mean by finding a college that's the right fit? It's not just go to the big-name school anymore, is it?
Yeah, I'm so excited that you brought this up. Really, what I want to do is provide information for all those colleges. And I have to say, yes, I'm a CSUN alumni. My 22-year-old is a senior this year at Cal State Northridge. Right. And my 18-year-old is going to University of California, Santa Cruz. Not necessarily the colleges that I promote, in the sense that they are very big. A lot of times, back in the day, like you said, when I was applying to colleges, I had to go to a UC school. Why? I don't even know. It was just back then. I graduated in 1986, and I just had to get into one, so I got into UC Irvine. I did not get into UC Santa Barbara, and so I went to Irvine, wasn't really happy, transferred to CSUN. And so it is, kids a lot of times will come in and they always mention the same colleges they want to go to: University of Washington, Stanford, all these big schools. And to be honest, a lot of those schools are great, but they don't fit every kid. So my goal is to kind of introduce kids to those smaller liberal arts colleges, because to be honest, this is what businesses, companies, what they're looking for is a liberal arts kind of background. Kids can do, have social emotional, they are confident, they can communicate, they're problem solvers. And a lot of times these bigger schools don't really provide that because they're so big. At the big public schools, you are being taught more by grad students or teacher's assistants than you are the professor. And so the first thing I tell kids when they're doing their research, and we're doing it together, is to never look at sticker price. Because let's be honest, nobody pays sticker price. Nobody wants to pay sticker price, whether it comes to a car, a house, or a college education. And I do stress with the kids, this is the most important investment you're going to make on yourself, and so you want to make it work. And I feel that colleges that the small liberal arts colleges, for example, like Cal Lutheran, which is pretty local in Thousand Oaks, there isn't that many students there. And what a lot of kids feel, my issue with community college is you're going to be going into community college and you're going to have to take the English and the math and all of those general education requirements again. And for a lot of kids, they're like, okay, I struggled in high school. That is not what I want to do. Well, there's a lot of colleges across the country that don't require those general education. You can actually get right into a school and you can start doing what you're interested in. You can start taking classes in your majors, or being undecided and just kind of playing the field and seeing what's out there. So I think my job and what's important to me is getting the knowledge to the kids and the families and letting them know that there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of scholarships, and I have kids talking to me about those, but there's a lot of time that goes into all those different scholarship opportunities, essays, and all those kind of things. So what I think families don't realize is the most money you're going to get is from the college. And so we have kids, we need to pick the right colleges. There are a lot of colleges that give 100% need. I'm trying to make sure that every kid fills out the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, because there's free grant money out there. And basically you kind of go through the process, you apply to the schools that you really want to apply to, and then you kind of see, based on the offers of your acceptances, what kind of money is out there. As a parent, we had to do that last year, and my daughter's top choice was actually Syracuse, which is in New York, and it's pretty expensive. And she got a great amount of money the first year, but we weren't sure that was going to be something offered every year, and we were worried about her going all the way to New York with the virus. So definitely last year, things were much different than they are this year. But I completely understand the stress of thinking about, finances. And so I definitely encourage kids and parents to talk about that early in the process. Like, this is where we are. This is what we can afford. Let's see what colleges can give you.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right. If there's a school that you're in love with, apply. because you said nobody pays sticker price, and I found that out. I joked about, come on state school because it's going to be cheaper. It was really interesting. I think I shared this with you last year. My son, who graduated last year, he applied for 2 colleges. He applied at San Francisco State, and I thought, all right, state school. And then he applied for a small private art school on the East Coast. And I thought, oh man, that one is going to put me in the poorhouse. And the sticker price was very high. But I thought, I can't crush my kid's dreams. I'll let him apply, and then we'll talk about it. Well, my son got really good grades, but didn't take the advanced placement courses. So his GPA wasn't a 4-point whatever, a 5-point whatever. And his SAT scores were good, but not great. And so I thought, okay, we're not going to qualify for scholarships. This is going to be a rough one. Well, he applied, he got accepted, and then received 2 different scholarships, one from the faculty and one from the school itself. And as it turned out, that small private art school on the East Coast ended up actually being cheaper than San Francisco State. And, then COVID rolled around and they said, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have to make some adjustments. And here's what we're going to do to help keep you on track for graduation. And I said, okay. And they started talking about like summer session and winter session. And I said, okay, so there's going to be a change in price, right? And the counselor said, oh, yeah, definitely. I thought, okay, great, here it comes. She says, yeah, it's probably going to be about 20% cheaper than what you had anticipated. And I thought, you're giving me better service for even a lower price. Now, as it turns out, my son decided to stay a little bit closer to home. Probably same reason as your daughter, not with all the uncertainty. But yeah, these private schools will really work with you to get you in, because they're, again, especially the smaller ones, they're working to really cultivate the kind of small campus environment that they want. And so yeah, that nobody pays that sticker price. You're right. So you mentioned the SAT earlier, and that most schools are making the SAT optional. How is that working? I mean, I didn't even realize they were administering the SAT right now. Are kids taking it online?
No, actually, you have to go in and take the SAT. And so what happened was, they registered, and then they would be told that the testing center they registered for was closing. And so I think what the colleges have realized is that it wasn't fair for maybe some kids throughout the country that were able to take a test. Other kids that would not be able to, that's not a fair assessment in regards to the application process. Actually, interesting enough, the University of California, there was a court case recently, and basically the judge stated that the UC schools are not allowed to look at SAT scores, regardless of if kids submit them or not. And so in talking with the kids, I personally am not a fan of the SAT and ACT. It's a 3-hour bubble test on a weekend. Kids are stressed out. A lot of kids, including myself, I did terrible on the SAT, are not great test takers. And so there's been a lot of conversations. Every webinar that I attend for colleges, there's always a question about the SAT, ACT. And if kids have already maybe taken it. I was offering it at SCVI in April, and that's right when the virus hit, so we weren't able to do that. And then this semester, we're obviously virtual, so I wasn't able to provide it in October like I normally do. But what's great is the colleges kind of realize that, and I think there's going to be a complete change in regards to that test, because the holistic review of applications, I believe they're finding that not only do colleges need, they want to know if the kids are going to come there and be successful and kind of contribute to their campus environment, but they also want to make sure the kids are going to graduate from college and not drop out. And they're finding that the transcript, not really just the GPA, but the classes taken, the rigorous course load, and maybe how well the kids did are a much better predictor of how successful they're going to be in college, not that test. And so it's been very interesting this past year. And before the SAT and ACT became an issue with the virus, there's a lot of schools that are test optional. And so I talk to the kids about that, because the stress is, oh my gosh, I have to take the test and then I have to do well on the test. I know that my daughter took it a couple of times and she didn't do as well as she wanted to, and frankly, lower than maybe what Syracuse was looking for. And so that stressed her out. And rather than, the message to the kids is you want a school that wants you as much as you want them. And so there's a lot of schools out there, especially those small ones, that during the application process is so personalized than it is at a big public school, because you are kind of just a number. And I think, our kids are at SCVI because of the awesome curriculum and the project-based and the relationships that they create with the adults, that it just makes sense for kids to kind of continue that and go to a college where they can meet people, they can, express their ideas, they can study abroad. Maybe even at Thanksgiving holiday, they'll be going over to their professor's house for dinner. Those are all experiences that those smaller schools have. And yes, just like you found out, many times a private school is going to be cheaper than a public one. And so this is where I want the kids to make those comparisons. And like both of our kids did, they looked at all the data, they looked at all the different, scholarships, maybe things that were out there, and they got to make a decision that fit them.
Chris, you talked about some of those advanced placement courses, and I know that's one of those things that kids oftentimes freshman year, they hit the ground running and, they start gobbling up AP courses because they can kind of get a little bit of a bump when it comes to college applications. At SCVI, you don't offer AP courses, but rather IB courses. We spoke with IB coordinator Cheryl Senna not too long ago here on the show about that International Baccalaureate. Can you tell us a little bit in regards to college applications, what makes the IB, the International Baccalaureate courses that we offer at SCVI, different than the AP courses, and how do colleges look at those IB courses on applications?
Sure. Actually, IB is great. I got introduced to the program, obviously being at SCVI, but again, I've just had the most amazing experiences this past year with my daughter. She attended Royal High School, and they have AP and IB there. Oh. And so just in seeing what she was classes, she took an IB English class, but then also took some AP, because I think the kids feel pressured that they have to take AP courses in order to get into a good college, and it really is not true. The one thing that I think families and learners don't understand in the process is when I send in all the documentation. So the responsibility for the kids, just get that application in by the deadline. I do kind of everything else. I send the school report. I send transcripts. I send the teacher recommendations. But what I also send is what's called a school profile. And in that profile, it tells any college admissions counselor what we have at our school and what's offered. So what's great is a college, let's say, for example, Cal Lutheran, they will look at an application and say, okay, this kid, they're not going to compare our kids to kids, let's say, at Valencia, where they might have AP classes. They're going to look and say, what are the most demanding courses offered at SCVI, and are you taking those courses? So kids don't have to worry that we're not providing those AP classes. I actually am not a fan of them. What I've found with advanced placement is, yes, it's very rigorous, but to me, it's like you're just regurgitating that information. A lot of what the kids are learning is on their own, which I think is very difficult. And there's one test in May, you take the test and you get a score, and that's basically it. It does look good on a transcript, but the International Baccalaureate is global thinking. It's more project-based, which is perfect for SCVI. So in talking with classes with my daughter, she loved her IB English class and was not a fan of her AP classes because it was a lot of that reading chapters on your own, answering these questions, know this. And where in IB, the kids are really deep diving into concepts and looking at things differently and looking at them from a global perspective, and the realization that other people can be right in other parts of the world. And I think, encouraging what some of those qualities of the profile that I'm sure Ms. Senna talked about, the risk takers, the problem solvers, it is amazing what those IB courses can provide. And I think the biggest plus for IB is that any learner coming into 11th grade, which is when the IB classes start, they can elect to take IB. Whereas with AP, many of the high schools require you to get a certain grade in your English class in order to be able to take AP English, or you have to do well in a test, which I think is difficult for kids that don't test well. I think it's kind of discriminatory. So at SCVI, if a kid wants to take IB or they want to do the full diploma, they can choose that on their own without having any sort of pre-testing.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to point out is it's an opt-in program. You don't have to be approved. And so kids that, as they start to get serious for college, are looking to challenge themselves. Any child has the option to take those courses. And at SCVI, we've had kids that are on special education programs that are taking IB courses and getting really serious looks from the colleges of their choice. That is fantastic. I love the personalized attention and service that you're able to give to our kids, and you're helping them really build and grow their dreams and make them come true. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Please be well, have a wonderful weekend, and go Dodgers.
Thank you so much, Matt. It's been a pleasure.
It was my pleasure. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley. When we come back, we're going to have a bit of a history lesson and be talking about, well, the death of democracy. But no, it's not what you're thinking. I am Matt Watson. We will be right back on your hometown station, KHTS.
Join us this fall for online fun with the Canyon Theater Guild online youth workshops. Super fun classes with acting, singing, dancing, audition tips, script writing, scene study, improv, and putting on real shows created for online performance. Get creative, meet new friends, and most of all, have a blast from the comfort of your own home. Call 661-799-2702 or ctgworkshops@gmail.com or canyontheater.org.
Kip Muller. He rented an apartment in our district just 2 months before he started running for Senate.
But what Muller did before moving here bothers us even more.
Kip Muller worked for an ultra-liberal Sacramento politician who negotiated a deal to release 27,000 prison inmates.
Muller founded a PAC that helped elect a San Francisco politician who is working to open government-authorized heroin injection centers where addicts could go to legally shoot up.
And now Kip Muller supports blowing up Prop 13, raising billions in property taxes in the middle of a recession.
Kip Muller doesn't share our values.
He'll make tough times even tougher.
That's why he's wrong for us
and wrong for the Senate.
Ad paid for by Keeping Californians Working, a coalition of housing providers, energy, and insurance agents. Committee major funding from Farmers Group and California Apartment Association. This advertisement was not authorized by a candidate or a committee controlled by a candidate.
At iLead Agua Dulce, we believe the most important thing a child can learn in school is who they are. Life's real tests are never standardized, which is why we've developed an individual-based curriculum that values exploration, cooperation, and creativity. As our learners grow, so do we. Our tuition-free charter school is currently enrolling grades TK through 7th and adding 8th grade in 2020. Your young learner will be immersed in a unique environment where possibility and self-discovery are at the core of every experience. The Agua Dulce campus features beautiful indoor and outdoor spaces for hands-on inspiration, including a robotics lab, a garden bed, a greenhouse, and a technology-based exploratorium. iLead Agua Dulce is conveniently located on the east side of the Santa Clarita Valley, just off the 14 freeway. Check out our homeschool options too. To schedule a campus tour or learn more about our programs, visit iLeadAguaDulce.org. We're enrolling now. iLead Schools. Free to think, inspired to lead.
Use a hairdryer to kill COVID-19? Seriously? Here's Assembly candidate Steve Fox on Facebook, advising people to do exactly that.
Use a hair blower, use a heater, and breathe into it. It'll kill some or all of the virus.
And here's Fox telling people to drink tea to kill COVID.
They also say that if we drink a lot of liquids, we can wash down the virus into our stomach where it's going to get killed. So they're suggesting tea, and as you can see, cinnamon's my favorite, but any kind of tea will work. If you don't do it, then we're all asking for trouble.
Tea? Really? Aren't we asking for trouble if we elect Steve Fox? Last time he was in the Assembly, Fox was sued for exposing himself to a female staffer, then firing her when she complained. Fox cost taxpayers $210,000 to settle the claims against him. Steve Fox for Assembly? Are you kidding me? Ad paid for by California Dental Association Independent Expenditure PAC. Committee major funding from California Dental Association, not authorized by a candidate or a committee controlled by a candidate.
Hi, this is Bob Sheritz with the Way Out Recovery SCV, reminding you that during these unprecedented times, addiction and mental health do not take a break. If you or someone you love are struggling, please give us a call at 661-296-4444. We are open and here to help you during this time. Thanks.
I promise I'll get help. It wasn't my intention. I'm sorry to myself.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVI and iLead Charter Schools, Eye on the Valley. You know, I referenced a couple times this morning the presidential debate last night, and if you've been driving around the valley or just checking your mail, you've noticed it's election season. You know, vote this way or that for this initiative or that one. What's really important is that you vote, because our democracy is really amazing. I'm quite a history buff, and I've got a history lesson for you. This one's really interesting. I mentioned before the break that I would be talking about the death of democracy. You know, it was on this day 2,062 years ago that democracy literally died in Rome. That's right. In 42 BC, Brutus died. Marcus Junius Brutus, a leading conspirator in the assassination of Julius Caesar, you know, the guy of Et tu, Brutus fame. Yeah, he died at the hands of his friend Strato, who he actually requested to kill him. 2 years before, Brutus had joined Gaius Cassius Longinus in the plot against the Roman dictator, Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar had taken over the Republic, the democracy, the Republic, as Julius Caesar. And believing that he was striking a blow to restore the Roman Republic, Brutus conspired to kill Caesar. However, the result of the assassination actually plunged the Roman world into a new round of civil wars, with the Roman forces of Brutus and Cassius vying for supremacy against Octavian and Mark Antony, who would continue to rule as dictators. Now, after being defeated by Antony at a battle in Philippi, Greece, in October of 42 BC, Cassius killed himself out of shame, right? But Brutus continued, and then on October 23rd, Brutus's army was absolutely crushed by Octavian and Antony at a second encounter at Philippi, and that's when Brutus gave the order to his friend to kill him. And at that point, Antony and Octavian soon turned against each other, and the Roman Republic was lost forever, with the ascent of Octavian as the first emperor of Rome, taking the name Augustus Caesar, thereby killing democracy in Rome. And you know, a fun fact about Augustus Caesar, yeah, the month August is actually named after him, and the month July is named after Julius Caesar, which is why, with those 2 months wedged in the middle, you know, September is the 9th month, but September actually means 7th month. It used to be the 7th month until we wedged August and July in there. So interesting, the death of democracy in Rome today, 2,062 years ago. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. I want to thank our guest this morning, Linda Brierly, owner and operator of Need to Stretch, Amanda Fisher, Executive Director, and April Calthrone, Director of Facilities, both with iLead Schools, and Chris Nilsson, the College Counselor at SCVI. They brought a lot of information for us today. And I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to invite you to join us again this same time next Friday and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m., here on KHTS. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVI and iLead Charter Schools, Eye on the Valley, on your hometown station. Have a great weekend. Go Dodgers on KHTS.